Hello and welcome to In Business Talks 2. We are thrilled to welcome you to our bonus episode, The Friday Fix. In our bonus episode, we will be discussing a business-related subject with either one of our wonderful In Business networking members or a fellow business owner who will be sharing their advice, thoughts or knowledge on a particular topic.
We're your hosts, Tracy and Ian Earle, founders of In Business, a networking and business support community. We host online and face-to-face events and we'd love to meet you, so why not come along? The link to book is in the show notes. Today we have with us Andrew Miller, who is the founder of Business Enjoyments. He's a business coach, a multiple author and a TEDx speaker. Andrew has significant experience in both running businesses and helping people with deep-seated beliefs and emotional hang-ups. Welcome to our Friday Fix. Today we've got Andrew Miller with us of Business Enjoyment. So welcome, Andrew. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to the conversation and I hope we can get something across to the viewers. That will be viewers, listeners, whatever we want to call them. Something that getting thinking of things in a different way is always a good way of going, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, cool. Excellent. Thank you, sir. It's good to have you with us today. I'll tell you what, we'll start by asking you the first question, which is basically, can you tell us who you are and what you do, Andrew?
Yeah, sure. So as you say, Business Enjoyment is the company. My background is, I'm an accountant by background. So hurrah, that's always a good opening.
That's always a crowd puller. Everyone's turned off immediately.
Tell you what, if you're at a party and announce that, that's always a cracker. But I can go one further than that and really get them running out the rooms, because I was a specific form of accountant, and that was I was insolvency practitioner. So my job was when companies went bust, that's when I would come in and usually take control of the business and run the business, and ideally, hopefully, sort of keep it going and save it would be the plan. But yeah, there's the grim reaper of this world. So that was always a hit. But what it meant was, when I worked for KPMG, which is one of the larger firms, and managed to work all around the world. They were about 17 years. But it meant I had a really good grasp on running businesses, because that's basically what my job was, every aspect. But I got more into personal development as I was becoming a team leader and all that sort of stuff, and working with individuals, and realised I like working with people on a one-to-one basis. But what was interesting with the insolvency side, when you're most of the time you're working alongside the directors of the company, because they know the business. There are crooks around and there are people totally incompetent. Usually there's a normal person there that's just had unfortunate situations and they're in an unfortunate circumstance. And it really drove home the emotional connection there is between a business owner and their business. Because when you're watching somebody see everything they've built collapse in front of their eyes, it really makes it relevant. And as I say, these is normal people in unfortunate situations most of the time, but they get abuse, they have confidence issues, all these sort of things. So when I first moved into the coaching space, having decided that I've done what I needed to do in the corporate world, ultimately I realized I didn't want to be there, and I got to the point where I wasn't enjoying doing that anymore. So it took me a while to work out what I did want to do. And when I sort of retrained as a coach, I had a very specific niche, which was helping these people deal with the emotional stress of getting through an insolvency or difficult times or whatever it might be. So that got me more into the sort of the psychological stuff and some of the deeper sort of thought patterns, things, the personal development as well as the business development side of things that I got, sort of thing. But and that went so far. I wrote a book about a self-help book for people going through insolvency. I got talking to government about trying to create a program to help people, all these sort of things. But it got so far, and then it sort of drifted away a little bit. And I started working with other people at other levels, not in difficulty, just standard small business owners. And what I noticed was that it didn't matter who I spoke to. In most cases, whilst everybody kind of loved the thing that they did, there were still stresses and strains going on, and problems and issues, and I experienced it as well. You think, oh, I'll just run my own business, sort of thing. That'll be fine.
Yeah, it's not that easy, is it?
No.
Yeah. the challenge is running the business, but then there's you. Everyone's looking at you. Everything you're responsible. Every fear that you never knew was there suddenly comes out, and there's nowhere to hide, and there's no one to blame, and it's all you're everything. And then I met people that were incredibly successful, millionaires, and they were stressed as well. And you just think, okay, so you lose everything, you're stressed. You do everything, you're success. Everybody else is stressed. Hang on, something's wrong here. And that's basically where the concept of business enjoyment came from. It's like, okay, I know we need to make money in a business. I've got that. I mean, solvency practice, I know money is important, but there's so much other stuff that we can let slip if we're not careful. And there'll be stuff from our backgrounds, our childhood, and our patterns, and all these sort of things that stop us enjoying what we do, the thing that we're good at, the thing that we love. And that's the basic premise of business enjoyment, to actually be successful but enjoy the journey at the same time.
Enjoy doing it at the same time. Which makes sense.
I love the strapline on your website that says you want people to enjoy their businesses so much it makes their bits tingle.
And it's sort of come from a couple of one of the. I wanted to find a positive statement. A lot of marketing is focused on the negative. What's your problem? Find a solution. What's your problem? Find the solution. Oh, you're having challenge. And I get that. I totally understand how the brain works. But after a while, it gets a little bit negative, and you want to look at what's the good thing look like. The other element is that when people, when we talk about business enjoyment, their natural thought is to go to that negative space. Well, I'm all right, me. I'm okay. It's not awful. It's not terrible. I'm fine. And that's a trap we can fall into, to put up with everything being sort of okay. I call it the 7 out of 10 trap. It's like, well, if life's 7 out of 10, we're sort of programmed to stop and be content. And I'm happy with the gratitude, and we should always be appreciative of what we've got. But that's 30% we're missing out on if we just don't progress any further. So I wanted to get something that pushed us a little further and say, well, hang on, if you're not feeling fully connected to what you do and not getting this sort of electrical sort of charge through your body with what you're doing, then there's more work to be done. There's more we can explore.
Because it should be enjoyable. You're doing what you enjoy, aren't you, and what you're good at. So it should be enjoyable. It shouldn't be hard work and a chore from that point of view.
No, I think it can get that way though, can't it? Because, like you say, it's the pressures of doing stuff and making things happen. You can forget about the enjoyment side. It can become a bit of a toil if you're not careful, can't it? It can be just nose to the grindstone trying to make things work, when really there are nice things about running a business as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly one of those things. The nose to the grindstone concept is something that's been trained into us from hundreds of years in the past. We've this concept of resilience, which is really important at one end, flips into being a trap at the other end, because we have to work hard. We have to keep going. We need to push through everything. And as you say, nose to the grindstone, break the back. All these phraseology that sort of are applauded and given high status means it's really difficult for us to take our foot off the gas and actually have a relaxing day, or take some time off, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think if you've come from a corporate background as well, I think that's even more sort of in the forefront, because you've been conditioned almost to be like that, haven't you?
Yeah, everyone talks about the 9 to 5, and that's the minimum.
Yeah.
People dream of a 9 to 5 job.
I've worked in several businesses. It's never been just 9 to 5 in the past. No.
And when you work for yourself, it's actually probably more hours, because you're thinking about it all the time. You never really separate. So if you're stressed by elements of what your business is, then that's increasing the problems and the challenges.
So what advice can you sort of give then? How would you tackle? How would you help people make the bits tingle? If you like?
Well, there's two sides to it to a certain extent. There's the removing the pain and increasing the pressure, the pleasure at the end of the day. We could go to a very dodgy conversation if we're not careful on that one. But obviously, there's looking at those things, those traps, those habits that we're doing that are putting us into sort of are causing us the problems, because 99% of the stresses are things that we have subconsciously done to ourselves. It's either, it's either we've got a hidden fear of something, or we've put ourselves in a situation to create ourselves into an uncomfortable position. And it's a case of, right, can we break that pattern and find different ways of doing things, or do we need to tackle something even deeper where there's an actual pathological fear of something that's stopping us? But ultimately, it's our business. We're in control. So, we can, it's about working with the right kind of people, and making sure we've got the right things in place to make sure that we feel safe and all those sort of things. But usually it's a case of understanding ourselves. And the more we understand who we are, the more we can understand how our business works. And I often say that the journey of business is actually just the journey of self. And the more we understand who we are, business becomes an extension of that, and we can become more coherent. On the flip side of it, and I'll bring us back to what I actually mean by bits tingle. I use Haslow's hierarchy of needs as sort of the basic loose model for the business enjoyment model, and at the top end of it, for me, is all that finding purpose and getting connected to knowing why you do what you do, who benefits as a result, and shifting the attention so that actually our business, or the consequences of business, ends up benefiting another person or another. It might be a town, you might be proud of Yorkshiremen, and you want to make sure that your town's the best town, or whatever it might be, but it's something outside of yourself. And then you can benefit from that, but that's the focus. And when you find the right thing which connects to you, because we can all find external stuff, but it might be, okay, that's good, but it's not really setting my heart on fire. Then that's when you get the lightning bolt up and down the body. And historically we talk about, we think with our heads, with our brains and logical, but we now know, we're all more aware now that we think with other parts of the body. We think with our heart, we think with our, the gut feeling and all these sort of things. So in other words, you connect with the brain, you connect with the tummy, you connect with the soul. Brain, tummy, soul, BTS, they're your bits.
Right.
So when everything is aligned, when you know what you're doing, what you're doing, then that's what makes your bits tingle. And then all those challenges and issues and all the rest of it, they don't become as important. They don't become as significant, because you know exactly what you're doing, where you're going, what you're doing every day makes a difference, and all these sort of things. And so, yes, you still got challenges and issues, and it's not smiling and bouncing every day, but you can overcome them because you know where you're going.
Yeah. So it's a lot about mindset then, isn't it? Is what you're saying then? It's a big part of it. Is getting your mind in the right place. Yeah,
I created something I call the business cheat sheet, which is everything you need to know about business on one side of A4. Because as I say, running so many different types of businesses, all sorts you can sort of think about. Business at the end of the day is simple. You got to find a problem that people have, to get a systematic way of solving that problem. Make sure that you charge more than it costs you. A very basic sort of thought process. It's what goes in our heads and in our hearts and things that cause the problems and the traps and make it difficult. Business is simple, people are complicated. if businesses are all run by robots, it would be easy, it would work.
True.
True. So, I'll give an example if like we touched on it beforehand, but time management's a classic one. The three key issues in business are time, team, and money. I've heard that before, probably. Most of them get categorized into one of those categories. So let's think about time management. A number of people have been on time management courses, read the books, don't know how the Pomodoro technique and eat that frog and all these sort of things. They're great tools and techniques, but people will go on a course, and then 6 months later, they're still getting stressed about how much their workload and all the rest of it. I developed realized these sort of three key mindsets you need to have in place first in order to make the tools work. And I came to, and I went to a Chamber of Commerce for running an event, and they do several, and it was how to get your inbox down to zero. Good title, like it. Let's have some of that. And actually, what it was, he was a Microsoft 365 sort of expert, and he was just showing how to use the tools on Microsoft, and I don't have 365, so it was that bit of it wasn't much use. But fundamentally, it was a case of a version of the ditch, do, delegate type sort of thing, but with your inbox. So you either get rid of it, put it on your calendar, or shove it on your to-do list. And basically, it was take everything off your email list and put it on your to-do list. And there were people in the room complaining and saying, well, you're not teaching, all you're doing is just increasing your to-do list.
Yeah, making it a lot longer. Yeah.
Okay, yes, but is the inbox empty? Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
You'd achieved
But then it just hit me at that point as I sit there, I thought, hang on a sec, that's the thing. Our to-do list, and when I say to-do list, I mean everything, not just our business to-do list, our life to-do list. It is infinite. There is no end to it. Now, for me, just making that mental shift gave me a sense of calm. I felt good about it, and I would start sharing it with people, but they got stressed by it, and they went, "Oh, I don't want to know about the infinite to-do list." And I realised there was, for me, bear in mind my background as a mathematician, and I'm comfortable with the concept of infinity and these sort of things. I play with that sort of stuff. There is an obvious thing in there for me. It clearly wasn't so obvious for some of the other people I was saying, which, I mean, I had to create the second mindset. It's like, yeah, it's infinite. The second point you need to know is you don't have to do it all. You can't do it all. That's what infinite means.
Yeah.
So it's giving you permission to let yourself off the hook when you're not getting your to-do list done, because you're not going to get it done anyway.
No.
And this is a lot of the thing around time management is actually it's action management. I know someone talks about energy management. It's another really good thing. That's a different topic, but it's another way of looking at it. But we can't manage time. All we can do is what we do within that time. And if we are setting ourselves up to think we have to do everything as much as we can possible, we're going to get into trouble. If we sit back and go, do you know what? We're not going to be able to get everything done. It gives us a bit more chance to relax. And then we can go to the third thing and realize that every single thing that is on our to-do list, everything we put on, as I sort of touched on earlier on, is there because we put it there. We either put it there specifically, or we allow someone else come into our agenda and let it on. So, but I need to get this thing out for my client this afternoon. Well, at some point there was a conversation where you agreed to get it out by 5 o'clock tonight. Where you allowed it on. And it's not about blame, it's about choice. So then we get into the stage of, I get to choose what goes on my to-do list. So I'm not going to get it all done. I can't get it all done, but I get to choose what I do. That takes away phrases such as, I have to, I must do, I need to. All of those things actually have a choice beneath them. I have to do something in order to, you keep that sentence going, and eventually you'll get to a thing you've chosen to do. So when you think about overwhelm that people get when there's so much going on, when you take that step back and say, hang on, I'm in control of my agenda. I get to choose what I put on. Let's choose stuff that I want to do when I want to do it. And then it's a case of strengthening the discipline to be able to say no at the right time and putting it in the right way. But getting that mindset in place allows you to start using the different tools to streamline and put it in the right way.
Are there any tips you can give for helping you to, probably a difficult one, to choose? How do you choose? What is it priorities? What do you have a method of choosing your to-do list? What is it? What goes through your head?
Well, I'll tell you how I run my to-do list, because ultimately it's down to you. It's your choice, and in the sense that this sounds a bit like, I'll say, but most basic, nothing matters.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Other than, nothing has meaning unless you give meaning to it. So it's what's important to the individual. So my to-do list, I just use a Word document, nothing sophisticated. I have every day on there for the rest of the year mapped out. Not everything filled, but I have some regular stuff that I know I want to do because I just want to keep things going, social media posts or whatever it might be, or I've got meetings booked in. And there's a general direction I'm going in. There's projects that I'm working on. And it's like, right, okay, so tomorrow I've got a lot of meetings on, so I've only got about an hour spare tomorrow. Well, what I'm not going to do is put 100 things in on my to-do list for tomorrow. I'll put one thing in. The other 99 I can spread out over the course of the rest of the year. Yeah. Or roll into next year. It doesn't matter. If it's important to me, I'll bring it up. I'll make it sooner. If something crops up that shifts things around, I'll have a think about, well, what do I genuinely want to do? And it allows me to use a bigger space to stretch things out. So I can't say, I wouldn't dictate to somebody a way to prioritize, because it comes down to each individual.
Yeah.
Where are you right now in your situation? It might be you're tight on money, and money's an issue right now. Okay, well now with something that makes money might come up your priority list. Let's do more stuff that's going to make more money right now because I'm in financial difficulty, or prices are going up, or whatever it might be. Maybe we're okay on the money side, in which case we want to be doing stuff that's more connected to my purpose. I want to create the project that I want to do. Okay, now that takes priority and that comes up, but it becomes flexible.
Yeah.
And back to the concept of choice, as I say.
Yeah. That makes sense.
When we're choosing, then okay, we might make bad decisions. Then we have to learn not to beat ourselves up and say, okay, I made a bad decision. Let's learn from that, move on, make it, and see if I can make a better decision next time. And yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And we can always outsource, can't we?
You can outsource. Yeah, absolutely. All these things are good. We don't have to do everything ourselves, for sure.
No.
Well, no, we can't do everything ourselves.
No.
Yeah.
I think I sort of fall into that trap of I've got to do so many social media posts today, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that.
Yeah, and you don't really got to do it, do you? That's the thing. It's not that essential sometimes, is it? You put yourself under pressure, don't you?
The difference it would make if I didn't do it or I did do it probably isn't that much, but I get a bit hung up on stuff like that.
Yeah, as I say, if you just extend the sentence, I have to do so many social media posts a week in order to what?
Raise awareness of the business or whatever.
You don't answer that now, but have a think about that. What is underlying? What does this action create? And this thing that it's going to create, is this something I genuinely want, and is it going to serve it? Yeah, I want this. Great, I want to do that, and therefore I want to do them social media posts, and then it becomes a choice again. And we're not under pressure to do it because we have to, because somebody we went on a course and they said you have to post 5 times a day.
Yeah, they usually do on those courses, don't they?
So yeah, challenge the assumptions beneath it and have a look at, really explore what's going on.
Yeah, valid point. Yeah, valid point.
Interesting. I mean, the analogy I like to the time management thing is like going to these sort of all-you-can-eat buffet type things where they got things from all over around the world. And, imagine it's open 24/7 and you lived there. Now, our mindset when we go to them and we're only there for 2 hours is to pile up that plate as much as possible and eat everything. But but if we're there all the time, and the way we work with time and our action and our to-do list is, right, I am not leaving this buffet until every single counter is cleared. The Indian counter, the Chinese, I'm eating all the food. Someone comes back and replenishes the bowl as soon as you've got every single time you're having this huge plate load of food and you're eating too much and you're feeling ill and you're gas stress and the rest of it. No, you choose what goes on your plate. There's always going to be food. You get to choose what you want. And sometimes you want some healthy stuff and sometimes you want some naughty stuff, and whatever it might be. Yeah. Choice is yours. Yeah. You get to choose what you eat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good analogy.
Yeah, it is a good analogy. Yeah. Very valid.
Great.
Okay. So can I ask, tell you what, we're going along quite nicely here. So can I just slip this one in as well and see what would be your sort of like best tip then, or a top tip for helping people succeed in business? I mean, you've done some really good stuff there. You've just spoken about mindset and stuff and choice. Would that be your top tip? Get your mind right and get your choices right? Or...
Yeah, well, I think that's a big part of it. I mean, I say getting clear about where you're going and why you're doing it. Why is very important. We very often move into business just because we don't want to do the alternative. We don't want to work for the man. We don't want to give that money to somebody else. So we very much have an away from mentality when we move into business often. And it's connecting that towards where am I going, what am I wanting to do, what's the difference I'm making, and getting clear about that. Now, it's not necessarily a quick process, so pick yourself up, but just getting curious and exploring and getting closer to it. What's the thing that really sets me like? What when I make a difference? Those buzzes when you've worked with a client and they've, what those really great successes. What's giving you the most excitement and all the rest of it. Start picking up the patterns and that kind of stuff. So getting clear about the towards mentality is certainly a step. choice, as I say, it's bringing back control to the individual rather than being someone buffeted by the winds and just having no choice in where you're going. It's use the winds to steer a path, and sometimes it can take us to the sideways, but we just set the sails and move. But you adjust the sails to reflect the wind, but you choose where you go rather than get buffeted around. And the other thing, of course, is you're going to mess up. You're going to get things wrong. Things will go wrong. Things do go wrong. It ain't perfect, and that's okay. So have the experimental mindset of, let's give this a go. Oh, that was rubbish. Don't like that. Won't do that again.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Yeah, we do a lot of that, don't we?
We all have. I've been to change direction up 4 or 5 times. It's gone quite dramatic shifts, but that's okay. I've learned through the process. Take it on to the next thing. And you don't beat yourself up for getting things wrong. You just look to see, what can I learn from it? Can I improve it? Can I make this thing work better? Or have I proved? There's a big difference between something not working and proving that it will never work. So it's getting that balance right. How long do I stick in a space? But let's keep exploring. And so long as I'm enjoying the journey, then that's fine. But if it goes wrong, that's not a problem.
Oh, some great advice there, Andrew. Thank you very much. Thanks for sharing.
Yes, that's been excellent. Yeah, but just before you go, if people do want to get in touch with you, then and find out more about what you do, what's the best way of?
And they want to get their bits tingling.
Yeah, what's the best way to contact you? Yeah.
I mean, the business website is businessenjoyment.com, or enjoy me on LinkedIn. Andrew Miller's quite a bland name. It's not the rarest one on the planet, so you might need to stick business enjoyment into LinkedIn as well to find me. But those are the best ways to have a look. There's a link to my TED talk on LinkedIn, which talks about what I've just touched on, some of the key things, but in terms of measuring success and making it more than just money. Through the website, I'm just changing what it is at the moment. You can get access to my book, or I think it will become a point next month where you can access the TED talk. We'll give you an option of the free copy of the book, which builds on that.
And did you say you got a cheat sheet out there as well? Can people download the cheat sheet?
As well,
Okay,
great
cool.
stuff. Lovely. Well, we'll put all those links into the show notes anyway, so people can they don't have to remember them. They can just click on them. And it's been great talking to you,
thank you
Andrew.
very much for your time. It's been really good, really interesting. I'm going to have a bit of rethink about my choices, I think.
And again, there's nothing wrong with the choices you've made. It's just stuff to learn from.
I'm one of those choices.
That was the best choice I ever made, my love. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm glad you said that.
Did I do all right there, Andrew? Did I recover nicely there, Andrew?
Every now and then we make the right decision.
That was the one. That was the one.
You're one and only.
Quota's over.
Oh, well, thanks ever so much for joining us. And take care.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, we're almost at the end of this week's show, and just a reminder before we go, don't forget to book your place at one of our online networking events where you can meet some great business owners and build those business relationships. The best business comes from the best relationships. The link is in the show notes.
We'd also like to mention our books, which are available on Amazon. How to Improve Your Business Networking Skills. It's 52 tips to help you with your networking. Our Notably Networking one-to-one networking notebook, a place to keep all your notes from those follow-up one-to-ones. And last but not least, our 90 Days to Your Success journal, where you can plan, set and plot the actions you will take to achieve your goals.
Thanks so much for joining us this week on In Business Talks 2 Friday Fix. We hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, all we ask is that you simply tell a friend about the show. And please follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd really appreciate it.
Until next time, this is Ian and Tracy, and together
we are in business.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.